Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
Almost 2 full months have passed since the latest upload on my channel, a Don't Starve Together tier list. The reception of that video can only be described as jaw-dropping. Thank you sincerely to everyone who watched that video and are now watching this one. It warms my heart. I'm ecstatic to have a video do that well. Thank you for giving me an outlet to share my 2 cents on Don't Starve. I promise I won't disappoint. Following the latest algorithm fuck-up, I made a Don't Starve tier list video that was brutally honest, as I quote. Now, as a part 2, I cover crockpot dishes. Everyone uses crockpots, come on. But how good are all the dishes? Are there diamonds in the rough? Or is it true that good crockpot dishes are few and far between? I am happy to present to you the Don't Starve crockpot tier list. Welcome everybody to the Don't Starve Together crockpot dish tier list. That's a mouthful. I'm probably not gonna title it that, but it's a lot of words. And I will be covering all of them, giving a little insight and explaining what my thoughts are on the crockpot dishes. Without further ado, let us start. First up, in our F tier category, or also to be known as the worst crockpot dish in the game, don't think too hard, it's Wet Goop. Wet Goop is the worst crockpot dish in the game. It is done by screwing up a crockpot dish by any means. And it gives zeros across the board, no side effects, spoils quickly, nothing to talk about, can't feed it to anyone to make a pet. You're familiar, so bottom of the tier list it goes. It's a reminder of your failures. Our last one is Monster Tartar. Providing you with 37.5 hunger in exchange for 20 health and 20 sanity, it spoils quickly. It's just not worth it. Like, if you're on Weber, it might be better for the health and sanity to make monster lasagna instead of meatballs on Weber. But if you're looking for straight up hunger, I would go with meatballs. And also, throwing Weber out of the question, this is literally a negative side effect dish. So, very quick F tier. It doesn't need to be very fast. Just giving you a little show of the game as we push on to D tier. Bottom of D tier, the one that's almost as bad as Monster Tartar, Ratatouille. Ratatouille is the epitome of, oh fuck, I didn't mean to make that, but I guess I just have Ratatouille now. I don't remember a single time I've intentionally tried to make Ratatouille, except maybe when I just started playing the game. Ratatouille is not good because if you're making it from 4 vegetables or a vegetable and some filler, you'd be better off just eating the individual ingredients. Like for instance, 2 sweet berries and 2 tomatoes was one of my recent recipes for Ratatouille, when I could have just cooked the berries and the tomato and gotten like 40 hunger as opposed to 25. Garbage. Fruit medley. Fruit medley is an odd case because it does give 20 health. 17 more health than Ratatouille, which is considerably better, so why is it right next to it? Is it because it requires 3 fruit value and a filler, meaning that you have to use up a thing like a pomegranate or a dragon fruit that would otherwise be used, that could be used for much better crockpot dishes. So fruit medley, not very good. Asparagus soup is right above fruit medley. To be honest with you, it's pretty trash. 20 health, 18.7 hunger, 5 sanity. Very mediocre. You need asparagus to make it, kind of rare, so D tier it goes. Guacamole is the 4th in D tier. They're getting progressively, more, I don't know what the word, nourishing. Yeah, they get progressively more nourishing. So it's 20 health, 0 sanity, but now it gives you 37.5 hunger, as opposed to the previous 18.7 from asparagus soup. So a little bit more nourishing, but besides that, very not good. Conditional, too. You need a moleworm and a cactus flesh, so it's quite conditional. Leafy meatloaf. I don't have a lot to say about this one. Despite the fact that I have made it plenty of times before, I still don't have a lot to say about it. There's so many better things you could be using your leafy meat on. This is probably... Yes, I would say this is the worst use of leafy meat you could use. Besides just straight up cooking it and eating it, This is the worst use for leafy meat in the game, hands down. Barely above leafy meat is kebabs, because it's in the same boat as leafy meat. You're wasting the meat value that you could be used to make meatballs, and you're making kebabs. 37.5 hunger being half the value of a meatball, essentially. Just not worth it. Stuffed eggplant. At least it's justified to make stuffed eggplant, where it's not very justified to make kebabs. It's like, why make kebabs? If you're looking for a solid, you only got eggplant, got an eggplant farm for God knows why, then it's your go-to, I suppose. Fish tacos is above it. Quite okay. It's not conditional. I was going to say it was conditional, but I realized it's not actually that conditional. A corn, a fish, and 2 carrots gives you 20 health, 37.5 hunger, and 5 sanity. They're alright. C-tier worthy? I don't know, because corn is used for much better dishes. This one's a little controversial. A lot of people think taffy is really fucking good. Must be quite a shock, but I'm going to break it to you. As someone who's tried to like taffy in this game, it's not good. It's just not good. The 3 honey and twigs are relatively cheap for 15 sanity until you realize you can just do other things normally and get that 15 sanity back, so it's not good. Do give me your insight. Do you think taffy deserves to be B tier or C tier? Or do you think it deserves to be D tier? I personally don't think it's that good. Unagi is the next one, second to last in our D tier category. 20 health, 18.7 hunger, 5 sanity. It would be an easy C tier if the hunger wasn't dog shit. True story this is that I was able to live off the caverns from purely unagi and seafood gumbo. Unagi saved my ass there. I can't hold you. Does that rectify it being C tier? No, it doesn't. It's not exceptional. It's nothing out of the ordinary. It could stay in D tier. Salsa fresca is next up. It gives 33 sanity. Really good sanity gain. That's a exceptional sanity gain. Requires onion. And onion is one of those really rare crops that could be used for better things than salsa fresca easily. 25 hunger it only provides. And as Walter says, it only comes with 1 chip. Bottom of the C tier is Barnacle Nigiri. 40 health and 37.5 hunger. The reason this is at the bottom of C tier is simply the fact that it's so fucking conditional. You need to get barnacles and an egg at the same time. Which, you know, if you have a bird cage, the egg won't be a problem, but you have to go out of your way to get it. It's not worth it for healing even. Fucking mandrake soup. That's just a flex, but go ahead and cook. Even still, like, don't make mandrake soup. Stats are amazing, but it's just definition of not worth the cost. Barnacle pita. Third up in the C tier category. 20 health, 37.5 hunger, 5 sanity. Very borderline average, but barnacles, all you need is a barnacle and then 3 vegetables. So on your trip, you know, going to Lunar Islands, you stop by a barnacle, pick it up. Got 3 carrots all along the way, you starving, make a barnacle pita right there on the spot. Fills you up decently enough. Seafood gumbo makes its way into the C tier category. It requires 3 fish value. Stats are great. It really save you in a pinch. C tier for that. Ceviche. 20 health, 25 hunger, 5 sanity. Nothing bizarre. Gotta go get 2 fish value. It's not a very good dish. Barely above barnacle pita because, in my opinion, 2 eel. You're gonna come across the ability to catch 2 eel, and you are gonna get the ability to get barnacles. Fistful of jam, or as I like to call it, the wort meatball, because that's really all it is, a wort budget meatball. 3 health, 37.5 hunger, and 5 sanity. If you're not playing wort, why are you wasting all those resources when you could just go kill a mole worm and make a meatball, which is significantly better? Melon pop, it's C tier, even then it's situational. Stuffed fish heads being oh so close to touching B tier, but unfortunately just not there. Like I said with the ceviche scenario, you're more likely to come across things like eels or lobsters than you are going to come across barnacles, so it's occasional, but if you get that occasion right, oh boy, do stuffed fish heads slap. Very high C tier. California rolls make their way into the smack dab middle of C tier. Is it worth your fish? Absolutely not. There's much better things to be making, but to put it in I think right in the middle is a fair spot for California rolls. I think that they're very solid. And thus, we have pumpkin cookies. Now, pumpkin cookies are like melonsicles, except much better. They give you essentially triple the hunger value and 15 sanity. Yeah, they still give you the 15 sanity, yeah. For what it's worth, I think pumpkin cookies are very solid C tier. I'm not gonna go out of my way to make them, but if I see a pumpkin and I have B boxes, I might make a pumpkin cookie. Veggie burger is requiring a leafy meat, an onion, a tomato, and a filler. These offer 30 health, very solid, 37.5 hunger, and 33 sanity. 2 of those 3 are exceptional. It is on the better things to spend an onion on, so you can't fault it for that. Stuffed pepper poppers, they are 30 health, 25 hunger, and negative 5 sanity. I think everyone could overlook the negative 5 sanity, because everything else about it is just generally positive. It warms the body, meaning it's good for winter, which is nice because you could use ice for filler. Next up in C tier, we have fancily spiraled tubers. So, as far as the actual dish goes, solid. It's up there next to pepper poppers for a good reason. I think that they're a very, very solid dish. Nothing amazing. Much better things to be spending potatoes on in terms of crockpot dishes. As that basically concludes what I have to say for fancy spiral tubers. Honey nuggets are the weak man's honey ham. Is a really solid alternative if you do not actually have the meat for honey ham. Ice cream gets its spot. It spoils quickly, meaning you have to eat it quite fast, and it's relatively speaking not the best use for your butter. However, if you are in desperate need of sanity and you have a spare butter left over, I suppose it is understandable. Last up in our C tier category is lobster dinner. This is another case of being a highly situational, but does it pay off? Offering a whopping 60 health, 37.5 hunger, and 50 sanity. It boasts some of the highest stats of all crockpot dishes. The only downside, it requires butter, a 2% drop from butterflies. It is one of the greater things to spend a butter on. You're getting your money's worth. However, to put it at B tier is kind of difficult for me to do. So what I'm going to rather classify it as the gateway B tier. Lobster dinner is the gateway B tier. Not on terms of stats, because definitely not on terms of stats, because it's one of the highest boasting stats in the game. If something could be made easier than lobster dinner, as well as boasting good enough stats to rival it, that deserves B tier enough. So, gonna be placed at the top of C tier, but I'd like you to picture it as like the bottom of B tier. At lobster dinner wraps up C tier. A good show of dishes right here. These all are. I'd recommend doing your research on these, figuring out, are these worth it? Are these worth it? Just going down the line. But yes, C tier is complete. We move on to B tier. I immediately contradict myself by putting powder cake at the bottom of B tier. Nutritional wise, this is the easiest F tier I could ever give. Negative 3 health, 0 hunger, 0 sanity. It's something to rival Wet Goop. It's super convenient to have gobbler farms and pig farms around, and if you got the corn to spare, you got the honey to spare, you got 2 twigs to spare, slap it together. Really nice and convenient. Every world that I have has a powder cake gobbler farm on it, and I'm so happy I found out about it. Very convenient and relatively just a beautiful dish. We got Froggle Bunwich. Froggle Bunwich is the equivalent of like a frog meatball, I want to say. 20 health, 37.5 hunger, and 5 sanity. It spoils relatively slowly, and it is a meat. It boasts good enough stats to deserve B tier. It's not too conditional to be considered too conditional to be B tier. Lobster Bisque is really good. It serves as 60 health, 25 hunger, and 10 sanity. The main attraction is the 60 health, so I'm going to be talking primarily about that. Really nice, really good, healthy dish. Recommend when you're in a pinch. Bacon and eggs are absolutely beautiful. Same boat as lobster bisque. I've never utilized bacon and eggs until I found out that they give you a 75 hunger benefit. I always thought that meatballs were just a better bacon and eggs, but I was clearly mistaken. If you have the eggs to spare, throw it together. If you have 4 meat, just make meaty stew instead, of course. But if you don't have that 3 meat, slap together some bacon and eggs. Spicy chili. 20 health, 37.5 hunger. Relatively average dish. Don't want to talk too much about it. I don't want to have these elaborations be minutes long. So I'm going to give it a solid, good, try it out. Move on to the next one. Mid of B tier. Honey Ham for the real man. 30 health, 75 hunger, and then 5 sanity. Warming the body, it provides a really good array of stats. Like, there's nothing to complain about when having a Honey Ham. Pop that in there and you'll be happy you did. Flower Salad definitely earns its spot. 40 health, 12.5 hunger, 5 sanity, 40 health, really nice. Made from the seasonal cactus flowers as well as cactus flesh. Throw it together for a salad, get 40 health from it. Really solid. Buttermuffin is one of those things that you make very early in your Don't Starve career, and you kind of forget about it because you know other crockpot dishes. At least that was what it was for me. I haven't made a buttermuffin in a long time, but anyway, 20 health, 37.5 hunger, 5 sanity, solid boost, good stats, best use of butterfly wings in the game, easy B tier, B for butterfly. The last one of the Barnacle trilogy is Barnacle Linguini, because the 75 hunger it boasts is, you just can't gloss over that. That's, except does spoil quickly, only downside. Everything else about it, absolutely splendid. Gotta love it. Vegetable Stinger takes a spot in B tier. I don't have high, like, standards for Vegetable Stinger. Like, I don't really care about it. But I do know that if you were a farmer type of player, this is a great way to get sanity. A great use of your vegetables. Never going to complain about a Vegetable Stinger. That's all I really want to say about it. It's very solid. Very nice. We got Turkey Dinner in B tier. Very high up in B tier. I absolutely love this thing. It's so good. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, you're a Wigford main. Of course you're going to put it high up there than it should be. It's actually not that good, Rapid. But you're going to put it up higher because you're a Wigford main. Ugh. Yeah, fucking obviously. Meaty Stew, boasting the highest hunger value in the entire game, 12 health. Situationally, of course, because in other times it's not worth making the Meaty Stew and instead of making individual meatballs. Meaty Stew is an absolutely respectable dish. Love it. It's the same story with Lobster Dinner. Waffles are absolutely insane. They give you 60 health, I'll repeat, 37.5 hunger, and 5 sanity. However, it just requires butter and an egg. These can both prove pretty resourcefully taxing, as well as just time-consuming, especially for the butter. You're not immediately going to eat it for the health. There are much better things to be spending your butter on. Please do not spend it on waffles unless you have a game plan set out. Alright? And that is B tier. B tier. As we move on to A tier, I want everybody to have the reminder that these crockpot dishes are ones that should be heavily sought out. And because of the stats they boast and the convenience they pose, they are almost must-have, splendid dishes, and ones that we must talk about immediately, so let's go. Jelly salad is just such a good crockpot dish. 37.5 hunger, nothing to scoff at, 0 health, but the real attraction is the 50 sanity it gives you. If you could get lore plants on your world and bee boxes on your world, you could get an indefinite amount of jelly salad and thus live off of it. Trail Mix. Trail Mix is known for being the earliest crockpot dish a lot of people will make, which is fair. It's just the fact that it's the easiest crockpot dish in the game to make, hands down. So it's such a good thing to make. Beefy greens. Now, beefy greens as a Wigford player, whoo! These are the love of my life. Those stats are absolutely beautiful. Stats like those you won't see on any other dish except Dragon Pie. I want to let that sink in. Absolutely beautiful, nothing to complain about. Love me some beefy greens. Fish sticks is the first health crockpot dish that I've ever made in my life. Good stats, relatively easy to make. Just a borderline A tier. Surf and Turf is our second to last A tier, and it gives you 60 health, 37.5 hunger, and 33 sanity. This is easily one of the most useful dishes in the game. If you're willing to fish it up, then of course, Surf and Turf is an easy A tier. And to finalize the A tier category, we have jelly beans. When they're used, they offer 144 health. You know, wow, just casually, 144 fucking health, which is nuts. It's done from killing Bee Queen, which is incredibly difficult to do solo. For a Bee Queen drop, having jelly beans beautiful, so powerful. And everybody who's ever had jelly beans, gotta love them. That's it for our A tier. As now we are on our final qualifying S tiers. We have S tiers now. These are the peak. These are the ones that you always want to look out for. These crockpot dishes excel. At the bottom of S tier, pierogi. You know, to be the worst of the best is pierogi's honor. 40 health, 37.5 hunger, 5 sanity. Judging from all the past crockpot dishes I've ranked, this one doesn't seem exceptional, until you realize pierogi is an easy S tier because it requires an egg, vegetable, a meat, and a filler, if you choose. All of which can be easily obtained. Please take this into consideration as I put pierogi into the bottom of S tier, and it's so fucking good. Next up in our S tier is the infamous, well-known meatballs. I don't think this is a shocker to anybody. You'd have to be a blind fool to put meatballs in anything that is not S tier. 3 health, 62.5 hunger, and 5 sanity. Done by making a piece of meat and 3 filler. It's so versatile. So, meatball, you could sit atop its throne as an S tier crockpot dish. There is one last crockpot dish in the S tier we have to rank, and that is Dragon Pie. And what I told you about beefy greens, you won't see any other stats like this on Dragon Pie. Well, guess what? This is Dragon Pie for you. 40 health, 75 hunger, and 5 sanity. With those high stats, you'd expect something that'd be relatively hard to farm. Except it's a dragon fruit. Which, granted, dragon fruits are very rare, but once you get your first dragon fruit, and you can grow it, you have a surplus of dragon pies. Absolutely nuts. If you've ever had dragon pie on a world, you can comprehend how powerful that is. That is absolutely fucking nuts. Just the ability to have that. That is all I want to say. It's Dragon Pie may finally be satisfied with its placement at S tier, as well as me satisfied with the placement of every crockpot dish in Don't Starve Together. We've completed the whole Don't Starve crockpot, well, cookbook. So this is my rankings of the crockpot dishes. This is in a photo form, so you could make it easier to comprehend. And I'd like to thank everyone one last time. Thank you so much for letting me do this. It was an honor to rank the Don't Starve Together crockpot dishes. And please tell me if you have any disagreements or agreements or general remarks about this video. I would love to hear it. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't Starve Together tier list. You stuck through the whole thing. If you did, thank you so much. As I conclude, I'd say I'm pretty satisfied with these placements. Thank you for watching. My name is Rapid Fire, and I will see you guys in the next video.